You're listening to Shoe In, covering the ins and outs of all things footwear, from sneakers to heels, loafers to slippers, and every type of shoe in between. Brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. And now your footwear insiders, Matt Priest and Andy Polk.
Folks, welcome back to the Shoe In Show, the Footwear Industries podcast. We're covering everything footwear, all types of shoes, all types of way of doing business in the footwear industry, e-commerce, manufacturing, branding, anything and everything that makes our industry tick and run. It's stuff that we're super curious about, and we think we've built a huge following on our podcast because you're curious too. We're interviewing some of the industry's leaders, some of the industry's entrepreneurs, some of the industry's idea and thought leaders on what's happening today in our world and how we're changing around that, Matt. So who do we have on today? What are you thinking about? What are we going to jump into today? I'm really excited to hear more about what's happening in our industry.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. I appreciate that intro. You talked about leaders in the industry, and I think about, for our next guests, trailblazers, or maybe in the case of the United States of America, reblazing a trail or retrailing a trail. And that's Sean and Shannon Scott, who are the founders and leaders of COMUNITYmade, which is this really cool concept that we will peel back the layers of as you often say, Andy. And so, Sean and Shannon, we are so grateful that you're here. Welcome to the Shoe In Show.
Glad to be here. We're trail reblazers. I like that.
I like that.
Yeah. So let's start there, right? So you guys you have a ton of experience in the shoe industry. And maybe we can go in that in a little bit, but the COMUNITYmade concept, your company, your brand, I was turned on to it as I watched our good friend Chris Burns, who's been on this program a multitude of times.
We love Chris.
Yeah, he's great. He was doing an unboxing at a boutique store in Memphis, his hometown. And I'd seen some of your activity on LinkedIn, but prior to that, I was like, I got to get these guys on. And we literally set this up over LinkedIn, which is the amazing aspect of the platform. But Sean and Shannon, kind of walk us through the COMUNITYmade concept.
The COMUNITYmade concept, it's born out of a few things. Some of them are selfish, but this idea, Shannon and I have been in the business a long time. We're really young though.
Of course.
And but, we kind of saw these opportunities that making things closer to the customers gives that making things overseas doesn't. We're industry veterans, so everything has been done overseas for the last 40 years. That's what we saw. Mm-hmm. But the idea that if you can make things closer to where the customers are, you have these big advantages in speed, sustainability. It's actually, there's less of the massive upfront cost. It's really, if you think about doing things for the customer, it's better all the way down the line. And then for us personally, there are human rights and sustainability issues that are addressed if you're making things closer to home that you're not doing if you're making them big mass production overseas. So, that's really where things started. And I started working on this, and then kind of maybe Shan wants to tell her story. She got inspired by the community aspect of it all.
Yeah, I think, our former companies were big, big behemoths in the industry. So, Nike, ASICS, Van, Tom's, and each one of those companies have something special about them that we kind of tucked away in our heads and pulled a little bit from that to form what COMUNITYmade is. And I think, Tom's and I think ASICS really informed kind of this community aspect of, really doing something for not only the customers, but the community at large. So for us, our community is really, it's the manufacturing community, but, our business is located in downtown Los Angeles, and there's a lot of things that we can actually contribute to through the business, just to kind of reach out and make all of it better. The community where we're situated right now used to be a huge manufacturing hub. So it was really easy for us to kind of, as you said, kind of reinvigorate that idea of, hey, we used to make all of this stuff right in our own backyards. Why did we decide to take it so far away?
Right.
So, that's, and then COMUNITYmade was born, honestly.
That's awesome. And you guys, you're, I guess, the west side of the city on Mateo Street. And the only reason I know this, in full disclosure, I am now going through, and I want you to describe kind of your product offerings, but I am now in the process of making a custom pair of shoes. So I had my digital Zoom meeting with Noah yesterday, looking at the different.
Did. Awesome.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. And I'll be updating our podcast listeners on the experience. But to see kind of the leathers and the materials and the history of the product, and talking about the artisans in the sense that, if you go with this outsole, or if you go with this Goodyear welt, that'll take a little bit more time because we work with this artisan in the city that takes a little bit longer. And so it was this really cool experience to where I was telling Noah that I'm used to doing like Nike ID or custom made Vans that are produced in a factory in Vietnam or China, and you have a digital experience. But even though this was over Zoom, I felt much more in control with the aspects of the materials and the look and the feel. And so walk us through that experience and how you decided to kind of go down this path to create that unique consumer experience that's available to us through COMUNITYmade.
Well, I'll tell you how it started. You touched on it. It's this whole idea of getting people closer to the things that they consume. We've all, we've moved a lot of not just footwear and apparel and fashion, but, food and spirits. We moved a lot of that stuff overseas, and there's clearly a movement now toward people getting closer to the things they consume, understanding it. The closest I get to understanding what it takes to raise cattle and feed them and even slaughter them and prepare them is I go to the butcher. And we really don't have a clear understanding of the huge effort it takes to get these things. And I think that goes for footwear as well. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And these are craftsmen, and there's a lot of people involved. And, we go to the store and we pay some money, and we don't really consider all the effort and hard work and innovation that went into it. So that's a lot of where COMUNITYmade's spirit comes from. So when you're working with Noah, that's you heard my reaction when I heard you were working with Noah. That's amazing, because it's getting people closer to the actual shoemaking, getting an appreciation for where the materials come from, why the materials are the way they are, and then of course the people that work on our shoes. And that doesn't just go for the custom program or the one at a times. I mean, that's also for our bigger production runs. The people that are making them are people that we interact with every day. They're friends, they're folks that we in our community.
And we the very first thing you see when you walk into our space when it's fully open to the public is a cobbler station. So we've got people there working there regularly, where customers can kind of walk in. The whole front is glass and see, somebody actually working on a shoe. And, I think when they bring in younger kids, the kids are like, oh, wow, that's how do you make a shoe? They just think it comes out of a box magically, So yeah, it just shows up on your doorstep. And, to see somebody there working with their hands, it is an art. And then we also host shoemaking classes where we teach other people that are interested to learn the art as well, which is really cool. We've actually got one coming up at the end of October, a boutique scaled down safety version. But I think, it takes on average about 2 to 3 hours to make just one pair of shoes by hand. And, they're all hand, stitched, and it's really cool, hand cut. So we love that part of it.
I think it's awesome. And I think it would, I think you guys should take it on the road and work with some retail partners to take it in stores and do some classes on shoemaking and really kind of build it out. Because I think what's happening is, we're in this digital space and we're all tired of our screens and we want to re-engage, obviously safely. But as we come out of this, I think there's going to be this idea that brick and mortar is going away. We've been talking about that forever, right? So I think there's going to be a reemergence of people wanting to get together, but they want to do it for a reason. They want to buy products for a reason. They want to have an experience around it. So it sounds like you guys have figured out how to digitize that interaction where you can go through, as Matt was saying, as a customer wants to make a pair of shoes, that you can work with someone who's going to do it with them and walk them through the process. And I guarantee you, if you do that in that way, they're always going to come back and buy more shoes because of that engagement and that kind of relationship that you're forming. I'm really interested to know a little bit more about the facilities that you guys have and kind of the workers that you guys have and where you find the talent and how you plan to scale and build. Are you looking at, obviously you said you have a facility where people come into. Do people also take their work home? I mean, a lot of people in America making shoes do it in a shed behind their house. A lot of it's cowboy boots, right? But there's some people making shoes in their garages. There's some people making shoes all over the place. You can make it anywhere if you're skilled enough. How do you guys look at finding talent and artisans, and how do you allow them to be their most creative? Is it in the space? Is it in their space? Are you, how do you guys foresee your expansion or scale?
There's a lot to unload there, Andy. Clearly, you've been thinking about this.
I'm just wondering, what you guys, because when we talk about made in America, there's a lot of people who are like, well, they can never make in America. But like, of course you can. If you find the right niche and you find the right customers, you can always make in America and be successful and really do good in that essence, right?
Yeah, I agree. And I think it can be done in a fresh and innovative way. And I think you guys have called attention. There are a few brands that are working to do interesting things with USA production, but by and large, it's kind of the traditional American, artisanally crafted boots or work shoes, But I think there's a huge opportunity for doing things that are fresh and trend relevant. Like right now, it would be, athleisure, athletic sneakers or fashion sneakers. Tomorrow, it's probably going to be something else, but something more trend relevant. I think there's a big opportunity there. You asked, some good questions. So about how and where we do it. Is it in a garage? Is it in a factory? The answer is D, all of the above.
Yeah.
We have in our space, we can do one-offs in our space. We are getting close to the ability to do small production runs there. By small, I mean, a few hundred pairs a month. We work with two other facilities, one that is already doing a few hundred pairs a month, and then we work with a bigger facility that can do thousands of pairs a month. So look, we're not talking about Asia scale. Which leads into the next question about where do we plan to go? Well, we do plan to take this and scale it up. Mm-hmm. But the scale is not going to be driven by doing the most amount of the same style of shoes in one place. It's going to be driven by the consumer demand. They want more flexibility. They want more variety. So we would have small, medium, and large factories in key markets. And these factories are driven by, is that key to our distribution in that region? Is there a manufacturing base, which is the hardest question you ask? Is there skilled labor there? Right. And then can we build a community there, which is what we're doing in LA? We have a community that we've built. We're actively engaged civically and philanthropically with the people that live in that community. We have our manufacturing community in the same area. And then we have our community space, which is, our showroom and our business.
Yeah, it's definitely hard stuff, right? All these conversations are hard stuff, but it's the funnest stuff to talk about how you build a business, how you expand it, and really how you connect with consumers to deliver amazing product and do it in a way that is, for you guys, I think it's amazing. It's conscience driven. So kudos to you guys for what you're doing.
Yeah, I think the one thing that we also take into consideration is really this reinvention of what consumerism means. I think a lot of people are rethinking their purchasing habits, meaning that they realize fast fashion or over consumerism really isn't good for the planet, and we have this motto, choose well and make things last. So having one or, 5 awesome pairs of shoes versus 20 pairs of not so awesome shoes is really a lot better for everybody. And a lot of people are totally waking up to that now. I think having time off, or not time off, a lot of time in your home to sit and look at your closet and really reevaluate what you cherish and what you actually need. I guarantee everybody's rethinking that right now.
Yeah, Shannon, that's a great point. And it's funny because in this space, we often kind of joke around some of our faults as human beings in good fun. And mine is my consumerism tendencies. Andy buys a pair of shoes like once every 10 years. And I buy one like once every 10 minutes. But I often think through how I can kind of curtail that, much to the dismay of my membership at FDRA. But at the same time, I think there is this critical. I've heard time and time again during COVID this reassessment of what we need in our closets, and a lot of people cleaning out their closets and moving product to places like Souls for Souls and making sure that the product life is extended for people. But what's so interesting about, and I've just had a sampling of it, a 45-minute sampling of it yesterday, but the interesting aspect of the process with COMUNITYmade is that my heart and soul are going to go into this product that is not like when I go and pick up a pair at Zappos or a DSW, meaning I was talking to Noah about colorways, and I was telling him about a trip I took to Israel in February, and there was this amazing limestone in the old city of Jerusalem, and how could we kind of replicate those colors in an earthy fall-like sneaker, and whatever it comes of it. And I even saw this in Chris Burns's face as he did the unboxing. Whatever comes of it has somewhat of my fingerprint on it, which I cannot say that for just about any other pair of shoes I own. And that's what really is where the crossroads of what you guys are doing and what I think people are looking for that relates to having a product that has value to them and is long lasting and is an investment, in all honesty.
Man,
yeah, that's a great point. I think, that idea of doing a personalized shoe, we range everything from ready-made to totally custom. So, in every variation in between. So if you want to take just one of our ready-made products that we keep stock on, you can add a little flair to those, all the way down to what you're doing, with a fully customized shoe. And I think that's the beauty of it. We're not just, one thing or the other. We're trying to give the customers as much say in what they want from us as they can.
Yeah, it just warms my heart, honestly. I have a big smile on my face, Matt, when you're talking about your experience. I mean, that's exactly what we hope is to get people closer to the products that we're consuming and to get your fingerprints on it. As you said, it doesn't get better than that. And gosh, our dream would be that would be for every product that we buy, everything that we consume, that it's not simply consuming, it's creating.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then Noah indicated that sometimes there's a medical need or need to customize something to meet a physical, impairment, if you will. And so you guys provide that avenue as well for someone who may not be able to walk into a store and find what they need, or maybe they have to buy 2 pairs because they have 2 different sizes. And the lasting that you guys have done is really innovative. And so I think that, to me, it's a model of, again, it won't be the volume out of Asia that is necessary to meet the needs of 320 million consumers, but it will fit this opportunity, this craftsmanship, much like a microbrewer or a small winery in the hills of Virginia or wherever. It'll be kind of that earthy, crafty engagement with the product that a lot of people are seeking. And I guess it comes down to the authenticity of it.
It is authentic that we just sincerely want to build a community of people that are helping each other, and be it our employee community, our customer community, our manufacturing community. We just sincerely want to do better for the people that we serve. that's our drive right there.
Maybe we should figure out how we do some custom shoes.
We absolutely could. And by the way, I did take a note of your thought about taking the show on the road to retail. So appreciate that.
And I think people will be willing, because I think there's such retailers are, when people talk about foot traffic and all that, my thought years past was set up like a 3D printer and let a 3D printer make a pair of rubber plastic shoes in the store just to get people thinking. But you guys could create a whole simple program, because I think about it in the same way that I'm doing this thing with my kids where we pick it up now. Usually you go in store, but Lowe's and Home Depot do these craft days where all these kids come in and set up. There's like 300 people in Home Depot with their kids working on a craft project to teach them on how to be more hands-on and do things. It's the same idea where you may not have to teach a class, but just being in there and engaging someone, kind of like the whole idea of Costco when you're going around and you're sampling the food a little bit as you're shopping. It's the same idea. You could figure out something really unique and cool that would help you guys and help retailers build that community in a different way. So I think that'd be super cool. But if we could figure out how to do some shoe and show custom shoes, obviously, we would figure out how to do that. But we could also raffle it. We could raffle it for charity, where we could, we've got enough listeners, hopefully, with some change in their pocket. Well, actually, maybe not, because there's no such thing as change anymore with the change shortage, but maybe some dollars in their pocket that may want to contribute to get a custom pair of shoe and show shoes. Some fanatic out there. It would also let us know who our stalkers are to watch our backs. But we can do something like that and be really good and build community in a different way. So it's great to connect with you guys and hear your ideas on what you're doing. And you're in such a good inflection point of where you're going to be headed. And I'm really excited to see you guys grow and engage and build communities elsewhere.
Thanks, Andy. When we do that retail show, we'll bring you along and put you to work.
I would love to. I've been trying to hop in and run retail for a long time, and no one's let me. So we'll see what happens.
Don't touch the register. Now, my proposal, and we rarely do this, but since I'm in the process right now, Sean and Shannon, and we're bumping up against kind of the timing on this right now. I would love to go through the process, finish the shoes, and bring you back on, because Sean, you and I over the phone had these conversations, and I had subsequent conversations with Noah about the availability of materials and the movement of goods and duties. Yeah. And I think that's like a whole different, this is like the teaser trailer. And then we bring you back in a few weeks' time to kind of talk through my experience and then more of the aspects of the technical side of the business. I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
That would be great. Hey, there's one point I know we want to sign off, but we talked a lot about how we're building on this artisanal and craft movement, and people, they can research any company at any time with these computers that we have in the palms of our hands, and that people are looking for purpose-driven brands, and that's true, but it doesn't have to be small. I mean, we sincerely believe that you can have purpose-driven, people-driven, and be, I don't want to say giant, but you can be bigger than small. With this decentralized supply chain, you can feed the world rather than feeding it all out of one place. And that's our goal. I just wanted to make sure that we talked about the idea that, we do plan to go beyond what's been traditional for people-driven businesses.
Yeah, that's for sure. No, I appreciate that, Sean. So as we close out, we want to bring in Jasmine Pendergrass for her world famous segment, Whatcha Got, Whatcha Gettin. Before we do that, before she explains it, I want to make sure people understand the website for you guys is COMUNITYmade with 1M.com, COMUNITYmade.com. That's a community with 1M. That will get you to their website, the storyline, the product offerings, the customization opportunities. So it's a cool website. Check it out for those of you who have an interest. But with that, Jasmine, come on in and take us home as we talk about what we got, what we're getting.
Yes. Okay. So, you may know this already, Sean and Shannon, but we have a segment called What You Got, What You Gettin, meaning what you got on your feet now and what you're planning to get in the near future. So I will give you a test round and then I would love for you guys to share. So right now, I actually have on a pair of shoes for once. Because I've been lacking in that over this time, but I have a pair of Reebok Classics on. They're just like kind of my get up and go. I don't really have to untie them or anything. They just stay like this. They're pretty comfortable. I do kind of like walkings in the mornings and the afternoons now, so they're just easy to throw on. And I think from a previous conversation I had, I think I'm going to get a pair of Timberlands for the winter, just as a nice throw on. I love to wear them with my sweaters, so as we enter into a new season, I think I'm going to buy some boots. But in addition to that, Adidas has some great boots coming out as well, so I may look into that as well.
Decisions.
Yes. Well, what about you, Sean and Shannon? What do you got on your feet now, and what are you looking to get?
Sean, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
Shannon, you can guess what's on my feet. I don't wear them.
I know. Well, I was going to say it's kind of funny because we're both hooked on. It's our slide called the Palmetto, and it's just a really simple, luxurious slide that we've got the benefit of summer still happening here, but it's all we wear. It's, we wear it in the house. I wear it with dresses and skirts and shorts. And the cool thing about this particular slide is that we can do basically a custom version of it too. So I always joke like, hey, if you want to put your family crest on it, because we make them to order, like you can have a totally customized pair of slides. Is that what you were going to say, Sean?
Yeah, and I would just call out, for me, I love the comfort. It's got like a contoured Birkenstock-esque footbed, but it's a bit softer. And it's like the most comfortable pair of shoes I have. For what I'm going to get, sorry, what?
I was saying I was actually looking at it now, and the soles look like you can like live in them. So I've been.
Yeah. That's what we've been living in. So it's been our work from home. They're great for inside and great for outside too. So that's our what we have. And then it's kind of selfish, but obviously we're going to be looking forward to our new holiday introductions. So we're madly scheming on some new products.
Awesome.
For holiday. Yeah. So we're actually
some new technology that I'm super anxious to get onto my feet. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been wear testing a few of those samples, and we're tweaking like we always do. And at some point it's going to be pencils down and that thing's going to be out in market. So I'm really looking forward
Jasmine,
to that.
I think this is the first ever secretive Whatcha Gettin. It's like awesome.
I'll go just so that you know what I'm all about. So it's not all community made. If I'm going to get another pair of non-community made shoes, it would be a kind of a vintage pair of maybe Alden boots.
Oh yeah.
And I have a pair of brogues that are my favorite. Non-athletic shoe, and I'd like to find a pair of like traditional Alden boots, that I can find. That would be my next purchase. Nice.
And you guys' sneakers look great as well, so that's definitely something for people to check out. Just depending on, we're in this kind of like it's cold but not really cold outside kind of weather. The sneakers would be great for this season. So I'm interested in a pair of those.
Yes,
absolutely. Yeah, the West Siders, I think, are those the ones you're looking at? Because those are probably my other go-tos, and our Mateos are kind of my three in the rotation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those look like they pretty much go with everything.
Yep, they do, which is cool.
It's cool.
Great. Matt and Andy, what are you guys wearing?
I'm wearing a brand called Moves, Muves, which is this innovative. It's got a detachable outsole that you put on as you leave the house. When you come back in, you pull it off very easily, and you have slippers. So those are what I'm wearing now. And it's obvious what I'm getting, Sean. I'm getting me a customized pair of community-made shoes.
Nice.
Yeah, the work from home products are that's happening right now.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Andy?
I've got my Sanuk Sustaina soles on. Their new product they had come out. Super comfy Sanuks. What I'm getting, I don't know, man. I don't get much, but I got to buy a new pair of walking shoes or running shoes, to be honest with you. I've been trying to get out more and more in the late summer, enjoying the weather a little bit more. So trying to get out and get my walks in, and I've been wearing out some shoes, which is a good thing in some ways. But I'll probably likely take the shoes that I'm about to finish and do something funky with them and try to make sure they're not going into the landfill just yet. Either donate them to Souls for Souls or transform them through one of my weird projects in my shop into some different kind of shoe, which my wife will not like, either the noise or the product that I come up with.
You're the tinkerer in the group, Andy. I didn't know that.
What's that?
You're the tinkerer.
He is a tinkerer.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, in my whole life, I'm a tinkerer, I guess. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
He's not Tinker Hatfield. He's just a tinkerer.
No, exactly right. Exactly right. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on and telling us a little bit about your shoe story and your shoe community that you're helping build. We wish you guys the best of luck. And of course, as Matt said, we'll definitely have you come back on and we'll talk about the journey and the process through custom made shoes here in the USA. And to that end too, I do want to make a plug as some people will be hearing this just ahead of election time. Please make sure you go out and vote this election. We're not going to push one way or the other, but make sure you go out and you vote. And if you need help and you don't know exactly how to get an absentee or where to go, you can go to shoevoter.com. We built a website where wherever you are in the U.S., you can simply log in and find that information. But make your voice heard. Put that plug in on this one. On behalf of the whole Shoe and Show team, we hope you've enjoyed this episode. We certainly have. If you have ideas for guests we should have on, if you have ideas for topics we should talk about, this is your podcast. This is the Footwear Industries podcast. And we do focus on the business side, the story side, the transformation sides, so that everybody who listens can get some new ideas and perhaps get a new way forward in their business. That's what our goal is. We hope we've accomplished that. We've been on the air now for almost 4 years. So thank everyone for listening. Thanks for telling your friends and colleagues about this to help us keep growing and keep helping more and more people. Again, if you want to see our full library, go to shoeandshow.com. If you want to drop us a line, if you send us hate mail, we'll delete it. If you send us love mail, we'll read it. So that's just straight up how we do things.
Important policy.
Exactly. If you want to rate us, we'd love to have ratings. We only take 5 stars. Those who do not, 5 stars only. If you drop down below that, our producer Blake will find you on the webs. So we know how to do this. But until next time, I do want to thank everybody for listening. Be safe. And until next time, Shoe In is out.
Shoe In has been brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. For information about FDRA, visit fdra.org.